Hello and welcome to topic number 5. This is tracing. We've talked about the basics, how to use a can, how to prepare your surface, the colors, and now we're just about to start the work. But before we do, I just want to explain how you can transfer your image onto your wall or canvas. So there are 4 techniques that I can think of, and I've laid them out from the easiest to the hardest. So you can use a projector, a stencil, a grid, and you can go freehand. Okay, so the projector is by far my favorite because it's very quick. I get to put the image on the wall and put it exactly the size I want. I get to show the client exactly the framing. Actually, the last job I did was for a theatre company, and we're not sure exactly which wall it was going to go on and so on. I could move the projector around and he could exactly see what he wanted. You know, I went a bit higher up, lower down, made it bigger, and when he was happy, traced, did the job, and I still put my touch to it, and he was really happy about the job, so that was really cool. If I was doing it the traditional way, well, you can't just say, can you move it a bit, and then it's done. So a projector definitely has its place. I do hear a lot of the time that, you know, it's cheating, it's this, it's that. This is not what this course is about. I do recommend that you learn all these 4 techniques, and then you can use whichever is more suited for you, or more especially is more suited for you at that time. A stencil is the one I don't really use, but a projector, a grid, and freehand are basically the 3 techniques that I use all the time when I work. Sometimes, okay, even though the projector is my favorite, because tracing is not really something I enjoy. I enjoy painting, but tracing not as much. With a projector, the image is traced straight away, so I know exactly where it's going to be. A lot of the time, the clients that I work for, they've got this £1 million or dollar, whatever gig that they're doing, and I'm just here to do some kind of artwork to make the venue cool. They don't have time for me to just be a diva. They want me to get in and get out. So a projector in this case is really cool. You get to adjust as much as you can, as you want. When you're done, you just leave. The times I can't use a projector are where the venue is too bright, or I'm working outside during the day. Most of the time it won't work. I've got a really small projector. You can get really small projectors nowadays. They come with batteries, and that's amazing. But they're only about, this one is I think 150 lumens, so it's not really bright. If I was to turn it on now, you wouldn't see. I'd have to turn all the lights off. So it needs to be quite dim in order to use them. Before that, I used to have a 3000 lumen projector, but it still didn't cut it during the day in certain occasions. So it's good to have a few, it's good to work with different techniques, and then you just use the one that works for you. On the electricity side again, the projector I use, I can plug it into, I've actually got a portable power bank that I can plug in appliances to it within reasons. I can plug in a laptop, a projector. I couldn't plug in a lawnmower, I guess. But you can buy those things now. They're really, really handy. I don't have it here, but it's kind of this size, and it's got a plug socket. It's got USB-C, USB-A, whatever. So these things I definitely recommend if you do this kind of job. You don't want to be caught out with no power. So this is cool. Also, the difference between these small projectors and traditional projectors, first of all, they're LEDs, so you can turn them on and off, and the light is not going to burn. But if you use the more powerful ones, you need to let the light cool down for 10 minutes before you turn it back on, and so on, otherwise you'll explode the light, and that's about £250 or whatever, so that's the price of the projector basically. These ones work off batteries. You can put an SD card in there, so you don't actually need to carry a laptop and plug in whatever. When I used to use those projectors, I had a suitcase just for that kit. So I had the projector, which is about this big, I had the laptop, I had all the cables, I had a power cord on the reel because I didn't know where the nearest socket was. What else was there? So the laptop, the projector, the reel, maybe that's it, but that takes a lot of space already. When you've got those small projectors, I don't really want to show them because I don't want to show the brands, but I mean this thing is like really, really small. And with these things, they work off batteries. You can plug them in if you want them to be a bit brighter. So if there's no power sockets, you can just have them on a stand. Again, you can have those portable battery things. You can put your SD card. You don't need to bring your laptop to the job for safety, for weight, for ease. So those projectors are really good. And again, those that say that it's not actually art, art is very, it's a big shop. There are loads of things in that shop. You know, what I do is mural art. People call it street art, people call it whatever, but I don't really like all these terms. I'm an artist. Even with my photography, I'm an artist. That's what I do. I create. Even if I've got a welder, I create. I'm an artist, and I just found with the years that those labels do limit people more than they actually help them. So don't worry too much about this. If a projector works, then use a projector, get paid, and laugh at people that laugh at you, basically, which is what I do. That's the projector. You can see the rant building up, so I'll move on now. A stencil. The main reason for me, at least, to use a stencil is if I've got, by the way, all of these 4 different techniques, I'm going to do a piece with each, with the upcoming topics. So the next topic is portraits, and the one after is art nude. So just to give you a quick idea. So with the portrait, I'm going to be doing an art nude that's quite long, and I'll explain the advantage of doing using a projector. This is going to be a portrait with the stencil. Freehand, I'm going to do a portrait as well, and with a grid, I'm going to do an art nude piece, and why I should use the grid over these other techniques. Right, so back onto the stencil. The main reason for using a stencil is, as you can see, this background is white, which is very easy if I was to use a projector, or a grid actually. But if I had something really busy at the back, if I had loads of colors, loads of things going on, loads of patterns, and I wanted to have the image onto it, a projector would be really confusing because there'd be loads of different colors, and I would be projecting those colors onto more colors, and it'd just be like, whoa, what is what? What have I got to trace? What's already there? It's a bit confusing. So using a stencil allows you to not worry about the background. You put it where you need to, you trace it, and then you just move on with what you're doing. Okay, a grid. Why use a grid? If it's too bright and I can't use a projector, or for whatever reason I can't use a projector, then I'll use a grid. If the picture, and this is the reason I chose a picture of Marlon, which is a model I did a shoot with, and so he's standing up, and there are quite a few, he's got loads of muscles showing, and it's got loads of detail and stuff, and I just thought freehand might be a little bit difficult. This is where I would use a grid. So if you need something to be very technical and realistic and all that stuff, and you need everything to be on point, but you can't use a projector because you don't have electricity because of whatever reason, then a grid is a really good way of going about it. Basically, in this tutorial, I'm only talking about the advantages and disadvantages of each and why I use them. Excuse me. But I will go into depth when I'm actually doing the pieces. The reason for doing this is if I was to do a stencil here and use a grid, I'd just do a bad job, just so the video wouldn't be too long. So instead, I'd rather explain how they work, and then on the next topics, I'll be doing it and I'll do a voiceover and I'll explain what I'm doing. So I think this way it'll be a lot quicker, you'll have a better product, and you'll understand more what I'm doing. Okay, so Another reason as well, if you're using scaffolding on a big building and you can't project for whatever reason, then a grid is going to be really cool because you can have your scaffolding here, and then all you know is you've got this square here that would be maybe a lot bigger, and then whatever you have here, you will do onto your wall. So it can be a really big surface, but it'll make sense, and sometimes even a projector will be a bit hard to see and hard to understand what you're doing. Because everything is cut into grids, into squares, sorry, it'll be a lot easier to see what you're doing. If you're using a projector, you can just follow the line, but sometimes you may miss things out, so a grid does have its place. The drawbacks, and by the way, the drawbacks of a stencil, well, if you get onto a very big surface, then it gets a bit difficult, because as you can see, this is fairly straightforward. Everything is within this space and only a few holes. But if you start having loads of line cut, then the whole thing falls apart and it's just flimsy and it becomes inaccurate. So that's the thing about stencils. So a grid, it's pretty straightforward. It's kind of like the old-fashioned projector, basically. Like back in the day, that's what I used to use. Again, it still has its place. Sometimes I use it. The idea is you've got a grid on your tablet or printout or whatever you have. So whatever you have in this square, the second to the right and the second down, which would be this one, whatever you have here, you will paint here. And this is pretty much all there is to it. Again, when it comes to the art nude topic in 2 lessons, I will explain exactly how they work and how to go about it quickly. I could explain now, but I would just do a bad job. So I'd rather just keep that for in 2 lessons, and then I'll explain as I'm doing it, how I'm doing it, and why I'm doing it that way. And the 4th is the most fun when it comes to tracing, but it's at the same time the hardest one you can use. So when you're going freehand, sometimes it won't work. So say if you have a model, you're painting a model that's maybe like this or something, and you've got all these straight lines with the limbs going up, down. This is when it gets a bit confusing, because you might make the arm a bit too short, you get the line a bit wrong. So you can go freehand, but this is where a grid or a projector or even a stencil would be easier to use. Again, a stencil, if you got big, you got the arms going out, you'll have big cuts, and it might be a bit tricky to use a stencil for that. Some stencil artists will disagree, but that's mainly because these people will just do stencils. And obviously, if all you do is stencils, you're going to be really good at it, and you'll find techniques to go around the drawbacks, so you'll make it your gig. My best suggestion is try all 4 of them, and then just use one mainly or 2 mainly, or use all of them by all means. Just do what you want, but try them all out. Don't just think, well, I don't like stencils, or I don't like a grid. Do a few before you actually decide what you like and what you don't like. With the grid, whatever's in this square, you put in this square. With a grid, it works a bit differently. These 3 are pretty much, you pinpoint what needs to be in which place. The corner of the eye definitely is here. I don't have to guess. Whereas freehand, I will have to. So then you've got some kind of construction lines. Again, when I do in the following topic, the portrait ones, I'll be painting my friend Mino, and I'll do that freehand. And it'll be a lot better, because with the voiceover I'll explain exactly what I'm doing, but just to give you an idea. Use that like that. You'll be doing your construction lines, and then you'll be basically guessing all the time what you're doing, and you correct as you go along. So I'll be starting with something like that. So it'll be something like this, and then as I go, I just keep making it better and better and better. So right now I can see there's too much of a gap between the eyes. This one is a bit too big, so then I'll be bringing this back closer this way. And then this one I'll push maybe a bit further. This actually comes here, this comes here. Now I know this line is not right, it's like that. So this is how freehand works. You pretty much, you put all your construction lines, you kind of put this line here, maybe this line here, this line here, this line here, this here. When you start, you put a lot of construction lines, and as you progress, then you put less and less and less. And then, depending on the image that you're actually painting, or how you feel on that day, you might not do any construction lines, you just go with it. But this is when it takes a bit of practice. These three, maybe a grid is debatable, but definitely these two. You don't need to have done them a long time ago or whatever, you don't need really any practice. You'll nail it straight away, but this one a little bit, this one definitely, you need a bit of practice. Again, don't dismiss it. Do try it and do use it sometimes, because when there's just not a projector, you can't do a grid and you can't do a stencil, then it can be cool to go freehand. It's happened to me in the past. I've seen some people, you know, we hang out in whatever country, they just say, hey, we've got some cans, let's go paint. And then suddenly these three fall out the window if you want to paint your picture. So this is when freehand will actually help you. Then you can just do your thing, bam, 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 and then you've got your image that's looking good. So do try all four of them. They all have their place. Again, the next tutorial I'm gonna be doing two of those. I will be doing a stencil and freehand, and the one after that, when it comes to art nude, I will be using a grid and a projector. So you got all four of them, and I'll explain what I'm doing, so it hopefully will make sense to you. Right, so I hope this video was useful to you. Feel free to have a look at my website to see some of the work I work on. If you want to help me out with a bit of money, there's a PayPal button on there. You can just transfer whatever you want, or if not, feel free to leave a comment on this video, whether you liked it, you didn't, you maybe have some questions. I'll be happy to answer them. Other people might join in and answer them for me. Just put a like on this video, thumbs up, whatever, and feel free to subscribe to my channel. I try to bring videos out often, once a week, unless I'm working somewhere on a big job, and then maybe it's once a year or something. So, but I do try and bring them out as much as I can. So thanks a lot guys for watching, and I will see you on the following topic. See ya!